Hi, this is Dave Kettlewell, host of mastersofharmonica.com, and this video is called Breath Saver Blues. And the reason is we're going to be talking about breath savers and why they cause you problems and what you can do about it. But two things. First of all, I'm wearing this psychedelic shirt because breath savers drive you so nuts and they upset you so much that I wanted you to be in a good mood. So I'm wearing this bright colored shirt, hopefully to help you get through this emotionally as we discuss breath saver problems. And the other thing is that I've kind of come up with this jazz lick or a blues lick that I think is correct for breath saver blues. It doesn't last long. See what you think. Okay. Well, let's just kind of talk a little bit about breath savers and what's going on. First of all, for you and everybody who's ever played chromatic harmonica that has breath savers, these things have been problematic. So, we all deal with them, and you will deal with breath saver issues as long as you play harmonica. And we're going to go over two solutions. One of them I think works really, really well all the time, and the other one works some of the time. But the first thing I'd like to do is to explain why does a breath saver stick? And that's a good question. Let me kind of show you. I'm going to take, and I'm going to make a breath saver here out of paper. And this is kind of like an enlarged version of a breath saver. They're very thin, plastic, usually acetate. And they actually lay and sit on top of the reed plate in your harmonica. And then what happens is they kind of stick a little bit. Now I'm going to explain why they stick, but that's basically what we're talking about. And if you are a person who hasn't seen a breath saver, I will go ahead and show you a little later what they look like. This is a demonstration of a sticking breath saver. Hear the pop? Sometimes they just kind of totally stick. Okay, so that's what they sound like. And for those of you that are wondering, what is this harmonica? This is a Suzuki SCX64 with a set of Hohner 280C covers on it. And in order to get this to stick today, I had to put it in the refrigerator. So I didn't want you to think that this is an instrument that's prone to sticking. I had to make it stick. So let's take a little journey here. And you may not have ever seen what a breath saver really looks like. So I'm going to do this for you. And I'm going to give you a little hint. When you go to take the covers off your harmonica, be very, very careful because they can smack the reed savers and the reeds as the covers come off. So you want to be very, very cautious. And what I do is I unscrew the screws and then I let the covers fall off naturally as best as I can. And so there you go. See, I just let them fall off. Then I take the covers and I put them here. And these are the screws, and I always put the screw set in the cover so I don't lose it. And this would never be done on a counter because they will roll off like a kitchen counter and then you've lost them. Okay, so let's take a look and see where is that breath saver. Now, you can see that you have a reed here and then this white plastic thing, that is the breath saver. And you might say, well, Dave, what is the purpose of a breath saver? It makes the harmonica more airtight on some of the notes. When you play one note on a hole, there's another reed that's not playing, and that breath saver seals that hole so the air is more powerful, and that gives you the ability to bend notes. That's very hard to do if there is no breath saver there. So let's get back to sticking breath savers and maybe what we can do about it. Let me go into, now that you've seen a breath saver, a little bit more detail on why they are sticking. Well, even if you just put a piece of paper on a flat surface, like this would be the breath saver and this is like the reed plate, just laying it on there, there's a certain vacuum there and it tends to stick a little. That doesn't make a breath saver stick. But once you start playing the harmonica on the blows, not the draws, because the draws, you're not pushing humidified air into the harmonica. It's only on the blows. Those are the ones that stick because you have moisture in your lungs. Your lungs are very wet. That's part of how the alveoli work. And when you blow out, that humidity goes into and around that reed grouping, and the breath savers they start to stick because there's just a teeny bit of condensation on this metal reed plate, and as that moisture builds up, that's what makes that breath saver stick. Okay, so and I've heard certain people that are experts say, "Oh, don't worry about it." Well, I'll tell you, you can hear it on recording equipment. That there is no question that when a breath saver is sticking, you can hear it. It also drives us nuts. So again, just to recap, what is it? A sticking breath saver on a harmonica is the moisture on the brass reed plate, usually when it's a little cooler out, and then this starts to kind of stick and pops. You always can undo it by blowing hard enough. You can get the breath saver to release, but it will stick again right away because the reed plate still has humidity on it. So let's go into now what the solutions are. There are a couple of things, and I'm going to go over the bad one first, and then I'm going to go over the one that works. The bad solution, and you always want to make sure that your cover stanchions here that keep the cover off the harmonica are still there, so when you lay it down, the harmonicas, you're not laying it on the reeds, and you always want to be very careful when you're handling your harmonica not to touch the breath savers or the reeds at all. And so basically, the solution would be, and in the past people said, okay, what you want to do is you want to take, let's say, a piece of paper from a book, and I used to use old novels, and I would cut a part of a page, a very thin piece of paper, like this, and then you can actually insert that piece of paper underneath the breath saver like this. You slide it here and then you press with your finger and pull, and it will remove the humidity. But that's a losing game. I mean, I've done that many, many times, and it is not a solution at all because they'll probably start to stick again quickly and then another note. But it is worth being aware of the fact that it is only the blows where the breath savers stick, and they're all on the outside. Now don't forget, this reed plate has reeds on the inside of the reed plate and the outside. The blows, whether it's a cross-tuned harp or straight-tuned harp, all of the blow reeds are on the outside. So if they do stick, you can get to them. But you don't want to be touching your breath savers like that on a regular basis, or taking apart your harmonica like this. Okay, so I told you in the beginning that there were two solutions to fixing a sticking breath saver. And one of them was a good solution and one of them wasn't, and I was going to do the bad one first. So I just did the bad one, which is to take the covers off and to actually use paper and slip it under that breath saver. But I don't want you doing that, and I don't think it's really the right solution. The right solution is really much simpler for you. As breath savers start sticking, always in the same scenario, the harmonica is a little cool. Your air is a little warm. That causes condensation of moisture. That's what causes that condensation of moisture on the brass reed plate. So if you can get that brass reed plate warm, then you won't have the condensation. Same kind of condensation as on a Coke bottle in the summertime, a glass one, where it gets, you take it outside, and that's moisture that's actually condensing right on that cold glass. Same thing happens with the harmonica. So what's the solution? You warm the harmonica. Now, there's two ways to do it. A really good way and an okay way. So I'm going to do the good one first. What you do is you go buy a heating pad. Now, this is a basic small $10 or $11 heating pad I got from Walmart. And so it's not very fancy, and it has, you know, like 3 settings, low, medium, high. So what you do is you take and you put this directly onto a counter somewhere. Then you take a small towel and lay it over it. And then you take your harmonica and you put it on like this. And then you put the other towel on top, and you don't have to stir it or anything. You just turn this on for, I'd say, about 10 minutes. And you don't want it to get hot. You just kind of want it to get warm, but you want the whole harmonica warm. Now, you're not going to have, if you do this, and this is how you start when you play, every time that you play, you're not going to have any sticking breath savers at all. So this eliminates the problem. And from the day that I started doing this, I never had problems anymore. Now, you don't always have access to electricity. So the other methodology that I utilize that works but not as well is I will put it, if I have a sweater on, under the sweater, or in my, you know, like if I have shorts on, slide it up near my leg. You could put it under your arm, but get your body heat, not with your hands. That's not enough. Do something where your body heat is warming it up, and give it a good 15 minutes. Now, most of the time that will work pretty darn well. But again, what you've done is you've warmed the unit, the brass reed plates, and there won't be condensation of moisture. No more sticking breath savers for you. And that would be something to be happy about, like this wild shirt, you know. And so then you won't have to play the breath saver blues, which is always a sad moment for me, you know.